This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a 5 on a deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia swings on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season. Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Day 3 of A's Cast Live down in the Valley of the Sun. Hope everybody is doing well. As you can see here, it's another beautiful day in Mesa, Arizona. We've got a packed show for you today. We're actually going to do this pretty early because we're going to have a lot of recordings that we're doing in the afternoon. We have so much stuff that I don't know if we're going to be able to get to everything today and tomorrow. I will still be down here. I'm going to be calling games with Johnny Dasco. I'll be doing the game with him on Sunday and Tuesday. We'll be doing A's Cast Live still here from Arizona. You won't be here, but I'll still be here on Monday and Tuesday. So some of the stuff that we're going to be doing, because we want to get as many people as we possibly can. So we'll probably have to air some of it for you on Monday and Tuesday because we won't be able to get it all in today and tomorrow.
Yeah, we did that last year too. With remember we played like Daniel Susak and some other guys throughout the week. You know, we got Jacob Wilson that we might have to start play next week, our first round pick from last year, and we'll see who we get after today's show, and then going into tomorrow. We got some guys lined up already, and we had some good late additions today. It's not raining like it was when we ended the show yesterday, which came out of nowhere. So it's all said. It's been going pretty well so far.
So tomorrow, I've been able to talk with Zach Geloff. He's going to join us tomorrow. JP Sears is going to join us tomorrow. E-Mart is going to join us tomorrow.
We're trying to get our good friend Fran Reardon. We saw him yesterday.
Fran Reardon
Fran's
tomorrow.
Here.
Later on today is going to be Seth Brown, Brent Rooker. Alex Wood came out a little bit ago and did an interview. So it's like we're here all day long, set up right here on the field. I mean, this is our office. Does it get any better than this?
No, and like I said, it was kind of funny yesterday when we ended the show when I went back and watched.
It was pouring rain. It was weird. Like you look on your weather app, which your weather app on your iPhone is basically weather.com.
Yes.
And it has no rain. And all of a sudden it's pouring rain on us. And I'm doing everything I can to you and Ray are running. You know, the kids from the East Coast are running to the dugout because you don't got to get wet. I'm trying to save the equipment with my body, for God's sakes.
You dove onto the table and covered it.
Yes.
Like you're part of Bill's Mafia.
Like I was trying to cover a grenade. I was so worried. But, yeah, it was pretty funny. Great. Steve Vucinich.
Oh, we got Vuce.
We got Vuce we got to play.
Yeah.
But years ago, Los Olivos is a great old school Mexican restaurant in downtown Scottsdale. It's a lifelong favorite of Steve Vucinich's. The Mission right next door is delicious. It's more high-end Mexican food. I went to the one up in Kierland with the family recently, but during fantasy camp, we went to it. Folks, tons of restaurants. Those two, though, Los Olivos and the Mission, are right next to each other in downtown Scottsdale. Highly recommend both. A little restaurant tip for you in case you're coming to the Valley of the Sun. We had a nice little dinner last night after working about 13 hours.
I know. It was the first thing any of us had real food all day long. It's the first real food I had in 20-something hours because I had a salad the night before.
Beef jerky, pistachios, peanuts, and bubble gum as you can eat during the day.
Don't forget the banana trail mix that we added in there too.
I think I added like a Reese's peanut butter cup in there because you got to stay healthy, my friend. Spring training. I love Reese's peanut butter cups.
I can't have them.
I could eat them all day long. So here's what we're gonna do. we're going to get this thing going because we still have a lot to do today. It's going to be a long day here. We just want to get to the interviews. And earlier today, went up to the office and said, Kots, got to go. We got to get this thing going. And yesterday was the State of the Union with our general manager, David Forst. Well, today is the manager, Mark Kotsay. And we got Kots out here earlier this morning. And what's going to be really fascinating to watch is how the training wheels, if you've ever taught your kid to ride a bike, you take the training wheels off and you put your hand on the back seat and with your kid and you run with them and you kind of let the bike go and they got to wobble and figure out. Well, at some point you stop doing that and you go, hey, time to ride the bike, figure it out. As a parent, you got to do it. Make it happen.
There you go. Just make it happen.
I got you the training wheels. We took the training wheels off. I've run with you. We've almost fallen. I mean, it's time for you to figure this thing out. That's where we are. And you're going to hear it with Mark Kotsay. Mark Kotsay does not want to lose. And the days of the excuses, oh, what about the payroll? Oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? He's not having it. Mark Kotsay's ready to win. Mark Kotsay really got what he wanted. If you listen to this show enough and you listen to the Mark Kotsay show, or of course watch it, you heard him say, man, I don't want to go throw take all of our money and throw it into two guys. Take whatever money we got and go get some pitching. That's what he wanted. And what happened? Who showed up?
Ross Stripling and Alex Wood.
Went out and spent some money on some pitching to go with Blackburn, to go with J.P. Sears. And the list of guys we went over yesterday, now you got you've got a stable of pitching, but you got some veterans in here to give you innings right out of the gate so you don't have the problem that you had last year where you got nothing out of your starting pitching the first 2 months, and it put you in such a bad hole that it was just a disaster. This is what Mark Kotsay wanted, and this is what Mark Kotsay got, and you just had to wait. Like, hey, we were in Nashville. We were at the winter meetings. We wanted to see stuff happen there, but we knew it was going to take time, and that's what happened. And you're going to hear from Alex Wood. But this is the first installment. Mark Kotsay, 2024. He'll be with us every single week throughout the season. In spring training, we do one interview with him on spring training, and then we start the week-to-week stuff going once the season starts. But we did the State of the Union yesterday with the general manager. Today, it's the manager. It's the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Nest Betting. Time now for the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. NestBedding.com for all your mattress needs and your bedding needs. Mark Kotsay, it's been a while. How are you?
Doing well. Excited to be here out in spring training. It's a new year, 2024, a new group in that locker room, and we're getting all acclimated to everybody, and a couple of days away from first game.
The speech to get this thing rolling, I thought you hit the nail on the head when you talked about Brent Rooker, and we talked to David Forst about it yesterday, about how that was like the very last decision last year, Bay Bridge series, Pache, Rooker, where are you going? And I even said to David, like, we have no idea what would have happened to Brent Rooker's career if the A's would have not kept him on the roster. We have no idea. And now look at him. It was a great way to start camp off, the example. Just talk about that speech, using Brent Rooker to let everybody know this truly is the land of opportunity.
Yeah, no, it is a great opportunity for guys sitting in that locker room. Some of those gentlemen obviously have come to us, via free agency, from other teams they've bounced around. They've been in the big leagues. They've been up and down. And that was really, Brent Rooker last year, sitting in that locker room, for them to be able to relate to somebody that's had success and true success in terms of, like you said, being the 26th man on the roster, to being the all-star, to finishing the season with 30 homers. I want them to know that can happen, and they have to truly believe that. And as a group, when we go to identify guys and bring them in, I think the biggest word in that locker room is opportunity, but then the second biggest word is to believe.
Well, I think about last year. We can't go back to that. And I know what a fierce competitor you are, and it's about winning. And, it's so tough because all of us, non-players, we've got to hear and we got to deal with all the outside noise. And boy, is there a lot of outside noise. But what matters for your group is what happens out here on the field. Talk about how you've watched this group grow. You've watched some of these young players mature. You got a lot of good athleticism in that clubhouse. Talk about how this team is going to be better.
Yeah, and I think it started end of last year. The group that's in that clubhouse has gone through, whether it's a full season or parts of a major league season, they've got experience now. There's a level of expectation that's going to be a lot higher than it was last year. We're still going to be patient. We're still going to teach, but we're going to teach, these guys what it means to be, a big leaguer day in, day out. And I think they did a great job at the end of the season with learning that, with the routines and the work ethic that it takes and the concentration level it takes. But more importantly, everything they do has to have a mindset of championship mentality. And I think they're understanding that. They're being led by each other, really. And, we started out the season last year, I believe it was 5-20 something.
Yeah, it was rough.
And we got better every month, really. And our best month was September, where we finished 11-16. We still weren't able to get that 500 record for the month. But we also, on the pitching side, in April, we had 12 games where we gave up double-digit runs. May, we had 4 games. And then the preceding 4 months, we only gave up double-digit runs 2 games. So there's definitely improvement. I think we pushed it forward, and I think they're ready to take the next step.
What do you think is different about you now going into this spring training than when you first took over the job?
Tony, I don't think I've changed. I may be a little bit more or less patient, I should say, and more of thumb on them. And because they've been here now, they've experienced what it means to be on a big league field, or what it takes to be a big leaguer day in, day out. But, collectively, I think, just sitting back and looking at the last 2 seasons of what we've gone through, I don't think I've changed. I still think that there's a level of understanding to, the uncertainty that's kind of surrounding the organization, but focused on still what we need to accomplish, which is to have a winning season.
I love it. What he's saying is the kid gloves are off. Boys, you're coming here to win now. Right?
That's always been the mindset, and my first year was challenging, 2 hours prior to my first kind of talk with the team after Bomel left was, trading Matt Olson and trying to find that right message of next man up. Last year, we all know, we came to this spring training with a very young, inexperienced group that never done it, but they had success in the minor leagues. And we saw that wasn't maybe the best route to go. And now we've made adjustments and brought some veteran guys into this ball club.
Yes.
With the ability to manage games. And we all know how important starting pitching is. It's really key to success. And I'm, thankful that, Alex Wood, Ross Stripling, Paul Blackburn's back in the rotation again, that we have some of that.
Yeah, we something that we talked a lot about, how are you going to build the team for next year? And so much was about getting some more veteran guys in here who can give you innings. Like so many times we now all want to come up with new data, new ways to evaluate players. And I've looked at this like, man, the most important thing, especially right out of the gate, can I get innings from my starters? Because your bullpen, you have a very interesting, talented bullpen, which you don't want to burn out early. And if you can get those innings from the veteran guys plus JP Sears, you may have something.
Yeah, and I think our focus was targeting, like you said, targeting pitching. We saw how difficult it was in April with a bunch of young and experienced starters. We weren't necessarily managing games. We were just managing to get through games. And you never want that feeling as a manager where you're utilizing some leverage guys to just try to finish up games. And then you have a chance to win a game and your leverage guys have pitched 2 days because your starters have only gone 2 1/3. It's challenging. And, I think I'm hopeful that this year, starting out in April, that we're, obviously competitive from the first pitch, which I believe there's enough talent in that room to be competitive night in and night out. And we get to utilize, like you said, this, hopeful young, talented bullpen in Mason Miller and the likes.
You got some arms.
And also with Trevor Gott with some experience, with Scott Alexander with some experience. Danny Jimenez has been back there. We're just hopeful that he's healthy and comes out of the gate, like Danny can be. And then we've kind of brought in a lot of guys that have some really good stuff and some velo, which is a little bit different from the standpoint of an A's bullpen. When you look at, past bullpens, velo where guys are coming in 95 plus hasn't been really there for us. And I think we may see that this year with some guys.
Offensively, young, talented, what excites you about this group?
Well, that they take the next step, really. And that's when you say, I'm going to gloves off, it's gloves off. I just go perform. You've been given enough time now to understand what you need to do and the adjustments you need to make. We're going to use that word a lot this year. And like, if you're failing, you need to change. You need to change now, or you're not going to be here. So, it's the young guys, Lawrence Butler, it's Tyler Soderstrom, it's JJ Bleday, it's Jordan Diaz. It's super talented. It's uber talented. But now you got to go perform.
Let's end on this because I didn't get to ask you, and I know he means a lot to you. Jim Leland getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
One of the great stories is, you come up with the Marlins. Next, you're at the racetrack betting the ponies with him. I mean, he's one of the great, and he's been good to us because over the years, Jim has come on this program multiple times. One of the great baseball men, great baseball leaders. Just what did it mean to you, your old skipper, getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
No, it was a great day. It was a great moment. I reached out to him. He had a huge impact on me. I played for him in 98, 97 and 98. And, 98 was probably his worst managerial season. At 54 and 108, it was my rookie year. And so I have a lot of reflection on that year. Probably added all the white hair that he has because I have a lot of white hair now. But just the connection that I had with him, to see him be honored in that way, he grinded it out for a lot of years. And most people probably don't know this that aren't intimate in the game, but he's a hell of a piano player too.
Really?
Yeah.
Cody is a huge Pirates fan. Cody, did you know Smokin' Jim?
Yeah, I never would have expected Smokin' Jim to
player?
be.
You get him out late at night, man. He'll jump on a piano and sing, bro. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well,
really?
Last month, Ryan Noda told us he's learning how to play the piano. Maybe they can play the piano together one day.
They should. If he gets the pleasure to sit
and
with
he
Jim.
can sing too.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. He's great. Yeah.
That is great. See, this is the kind of stuff you get on A's Cast.
There you go.
All right. Hey,
All right.
This is it, right? It all starts. I'm fired up. I think you're going to be way better than people think.
That's again, we're going to create that expectation in that locker room, and make a commitment to, obviously winning games.
Next time we talk to you, we'll be in Oakland, and we'll get this going every week.
Yeah, sounds great.
Good luck. Stay healthy.
All right, thanks, Tony.
Mark Kotsay, the manager of the Oakland Athletics, right here on A's Cast Live. You know, I just thought about it, and I just Googled it. There's like no record of Jim Leland playing the piano anywhere. That is like
Kotsay breaking more news.
Super inside new Hall of Famer knowledge that smoking Jim Leland, who is the last to smoke cigarettes and wear cleats in the dugout, a manager wearing spikes and smoking cigarettes, the new Hall of Famer who will be going in it's still the last weekend in July is the Hall of Fame ceremonies, right?
Yeah. You know what's crazy about Leland? I was looking at the I completely forgot about this.
They said he sings and plays piano?
Besides that, did you know he's one of the 7 managers in Colorado Rockies history?
Wait.
Jim Leland was the manager of the Rockies.
Yeah.
I completely forgot he's even the manager of the Rockies for 1 year.
Yeah, Jim Leland was
It was like him
the
and then
rock pile.
It was like him and then Buddy Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the amazing thing to you.
I forgot he was in the Rockies.
I think him playing piano and singing is like what?
Yeah, that's
did not like if you
I
like
would never
like,
expected it.
I get the Jim Leland loves to play the ponies and he taught Mark Kotsay how to play the ponies. I get that part. I can see Jim Leland at the track with a heart dart, but playing piano and singing and entertaining people, I did not see that coming.
I can see Leland's a good entertainer, but I didn't think it being like playing the piano, being a should be on America's Got Talent. Jim Leland being that kind of talented. But
more importantly, did you guys see what I was feeling? Now I'm doing the interview, so I don't get to see it. But did you get that feeling that I got? Mark Kotsay, and you heard me say it, the kid gloves are off. You know, he's had to bite his tongue a few times, knowing that it's the growth. It's what has to happen with young players. Young players got to get out there and learn. And if they get their ass kicked, they get their ass kicked. That's just part of the process. But at some point, it's like, all right, we're taking the floaties off. Once again, the kids reference, taking the floaties off, and I'm throwing you in the pool. You got to swim. Let's go. And you can sense that's where Mark Kotsay is. Like, hey, you need to make adjustments, and you need to fix it, or guess what? You won't be here. And that is where you want to be as an organization.
I just thought of something you said. Let's see what you think. The NBA is a make or miss league. Is baseball a sink or swim league?
Did you just go Mark Jackson on me?
See, you're going with the great breakdown of everything, and I think of, can we call baseball a sink or swim league?
You just you just went Mark Jackson on me. I like it.
I'm fighting for my life.
The streets are talking.
That's such a good one.
The streets are talking. What the hell are you talking about? But expectations are going to be here. And I'm going to stand on this, right? Because already there are non-credible baseball people. There are people who don't watch baseball, who will just all of a sudden want to be hot take artists and start talking baseball out of nowhere and act like they know what they're talking about. And I'm at a point in my life and my career, I just don't care what they think. And I don't care what they think about me. Because I know what they're doing is just for a reaction. They don't live it, they don't love it, and they don't know it. But it's easy to be a hot take guy. Because what do hot take people do? They give hot takes and they move on. Then they give hot takes and they move on. And if they're wrong, no one goes back. When you when you throw tons of crap up against the wall, no one always goes back to look at what crap on the wall actually stayed there on the wall. Like if you're slinging poo up against the wall, no one goes back to keep track.
Oh, this got deep.
As Dion says, I'm taking receipts. No. Who's checking your receipts? when all you do is give hot take after hot take after hot take after hot take? Who actually goes back to really go, well, on your hot take, right or wrong, yeah, you're less than 50% right. Nobody goes back to check because you're always coming up with something new. It's a shell game. That's what the hot take artist. It's a shell game. I'm constantly moving. Where's the little peanut under the shell, right? I'm just going to keep moving. I keep moving. I don't really care what people who have made a career out of that. I respect it. Hey, we're all about trying to make a living. I get it. At this point, I just really don't care what your opinion is. And when people make opinions, you can make whatever opinion you want about the organization and what's been happening. And that's fair. But when you actually talk about what happens in between the lines, as we covered it as much as anybody, and no one had to talk more about it than I did in the postgame show, it was awful. We were terrible. We called it out night after night after night after night. But you realize in that process is, hey, play the young guys, let them get it handed to them, and hopefully they will learn. But it's different now. And that's why I have no problem coming on a show like this that I know the recording on A's Cast will be up forever, will be on YouTube forever. And I keep saying this team is going to be better than you think. So you can sit here, hot take, and say, this team's – you think we're only – I'm willing to bet anybody we will cover that over. I've seen it 55.5, 56.5. No question we're going to cover that.
Yeah, the one we talked about the other day from the Superbook in Vegas is 55.5. I'm with you. I think it's well over that.
Whatever you're getting at it right now, 56, 55, but I think there's no question. We can't bet baseball. If this was football, I'm betting it all day long.
You're pounding the over, as they would say?
I'm pounding. To me, if you just don't start off as bad as you did last year, you easily win over 60 games.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So then I'm saying, well, let's say now you've had some veteran guys you actually play well, and some of these guys, we could have 65 to 70 wins, which, by the way, is still bad.
Yes, it's just better than the year before.
Yeah. So
drastically better.
You would look at it as an improvement of, let's say 70 games. You'll say, that's a 20-game improvement. It's still bad. See, to me, last year was so bad that looking at the 50 wins is not a good way to look at it. It's hard to only win 50 games.
Correct.
Right? In a sport where you play every day, you win some, they win some. It's hard to only win 50 games. That's why I look at it from a standpoint of we're going to win a lot more games than that. Once again, still not going to be great. Like if they win 65 to 70, a lot of people will look at that as a success. That's still well under 500. I will say this. I will not say the media member's name now. I have bet just a dinner, because we can bet food bets. I bet a dinner with a very prominent Bay Area news personality that we will win 70 games. And as the season goes, I will unveil who that is. You will be very intrigued. Don't you think?
Yes.
Don't you think if people find out about this bet, they'll be very intrigued who me versus this person?
It could be the talk of the streets could be talking.
I'll just say this. The minute I unveil my bet and who it's with, it'll spark interest on social platforms, especially X. For you old people, you call it Twitter.
It could be the old wrestling double turn. You become a face, this guy becomes a heel.
Yes.
Bret Hart, Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13.
Well, put it this way. This person will be eating a lot of crow.
Well, hopefully.
See, right now, there's a lot of dumping on stuff right now that you can do. But because there'll be a lot of, by the time season starts and by the time there's going to be a lot of answers to a lot of the questions that are beyond the field that people will be eating crow with. But my thing will be on the field. And if I'm correct, I'm going to make sure this person eats a lot of crow. And you will all know, and it will be it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, real quick, I went back and looked because we were talking about 50 wins and jumping to 65-70. A couple of years ago, the Orioles won 52. I'm not saying we're the Orioles, but they won 52 games. They jumped to 83 wins the next year. That's a lot of wins. That's 31 wins in the process.
I know that seems like it, but if you just look at our sport and the way it works, if you're just X amount of better, if you're better at X amount of positions, once again, just winning 83 games?
Yeah.
It's the way our sport's covered so archaic. People would think, oh my God, that's a huge jump. Is it really? If you got better at 4 or 5 positions or you got a little better pitching, you should win X amount of more games.
Here's a better example. The 2013 Houston Astros won 51 games. 2014 Houston Astros, the year before they made the playoffs the next year, they won 70 before they won 86 the year after. So 70, they went from 51 to 70, which is a 19-game improvement, a big jump. And then the year after, they jumped to being a playoff team.
Dude, we were 5 and what?
The start of the year, what was it, 5 and it was almost a reverse of what 84 Detroit Tigers did when they were 35-5.
Yeah, so just think if we win a third more of those games, we're at 60 wins.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how bad we started out. So it's like the improvement game to me isn't as big as I think whatever. It's a story to tell, but I don't think it's as hard as you think. A couple more pitching performances lead to a couple more wins. You gain a little more confidence, and bang, you're at 65 wins, which, by the way, is still not good.
Yeah,
but it's better. It's far better than just winning 50.
If you go through the first 3 months, so the one game in March that we had the opening day, and then in April, May, the A's were 12-46.
Man, 12-46. I mean, just think
6-23 through April. So they were 5-23 in April, but the one win in March, so 6, and then they won 6 games in May to make it 12.
I mean, if you're just a little bit better, you easily win over 60 games.
Yeah, every month they got better. It seemed like every month they got better. Like Kotsay mentioned in the interview, they won 11-16 in September, which was a good building block for them going forward. I know it was under 500, but still, that was the most wins they had in a month all year.
And one of the reasons they got better, Shea Langeliers. Earlier today, we caught up with the backstop, and one of the guys that you could see, because to me, I'm not going to be shocked if he hits 30 home runs. You really saw the power coming in the second half. Like, wow, this guy's got some extreme power. Like 25 to 30 home runs. And he could be a guy that midway through the year, if not in the next year, you're talking about, well, if you are going to extend some guys, it's going to be Geloff and Langeliers, right? Those will be the two guys. Shea Langeliers is going to be a big part of the process going forward. Here is the A's catcher.
Back on the program. How was your off season?
It was good, good to see friends and family, good to be home, and obviously excited to be back.
And you always got to let go a little bit. Nice little trip to Europe.
Yeah. Went to Europe for 2 weeks, checked out Paris, Rome, London. It was just kind of good to get away and go experience some new things.
I remember when we interviewed you, you were with the Aviators, you were going to the Futures game. To think of where you were then and where you are now, just how different has the journey been to where you are now from a maturity standpoint?
Yeah, just to start with getting traded over here, not knowing anybody, kind of taking that all in, getting to know people. Obviously, a bunch of great people over here. Everybody's been nothing but fantastic and so helpful. But just where I was then, just kind of trying to be comfortable, trying to be myself, to now it's like, I know everybody here. I'm comfortable with everybody here. I know like A's baseball. I know what the coaches, expectations and standards are. And obviously, I know the pitching staff now, so just more comfortable for sure.
And just the evolution of a catcher. Most guys that sit where you're sitting right now, we're talking a lot of offense, but you've got to evolve defensively. You've got to evolve as a catcher. You got to get better at your craft, and then always you're dealing with a lot of different pitchers. You're dealing with a lot of different guys that you have to know. What's that learning process like for you?
Yeah. You got to take each pitcher individually, just get to know them, what their personality is, what they like to do. Then on the baseball side, it's just their strengths, what pitches they like to throw in certain situations, what they like to rely on. And then the better you get to know them, the more they trust you and the better that relationship gets. And like you said, I think my mindset's always been catching first, and anything hitting's always a plus. But you got to get the pitching staff, going through the game and keeping the game.
I talk about it all the time, and you just mentioned it there. You've got to know how the guy ticks.
Yeah.
You got to know, what is he like normally? What's he like with the pressure situations? What is he good at? What is he not good at?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you have to know. How do you learn all of that? Is it possible to learn that in spring training, or is part of it you got to wait till the season to really see, once, as they say, the bullets are flying, how a guy reacts?
I would say you could see some of it in spring, but it's just different. Like 8th, 9th inning of a major league game in the regular season compared to the 8th, 9th inning in spring training. Just the atmosphere of what's on the line, just how they're going to react. They're going to be more fired up. Maybe they need to rein that in and control it a little bit more. Maybe they need to be more fired up. So you just don't know how they're going to react. And when you see it, that's kind of when, you as a catcher come into play. It's controlling that, helping them either tone it down or, get fired up.
I'll give you a great example. We have no idea what Mason Miller is going to be like in the 9th inning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know he's got great stuff, but we don't know.
I can tell you he's going to throw really hard. I know that. He's going to throw really hard.
Well, we had him on. I'm like, this is a whole different deal. I mean, he'll be able to get away at fastball, slider. That's all you need.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what he hit in his debut, 102, 103, whatever it was, but I bet it's going to be harder than that coming on.
When you're catching, like, it's on you so fast.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have time. Like, it's hard enough to hit it, but just to catch it. What's it like catching? We always knew 98, 99, my God, 100. Like Nolan Ryan did it back in the day. Very few guys.
Yeah.
103? That's crazy. You're only 60 feet, 6 inches away. And by the time he releases it, it's 50-something feet coming to you in 103 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, when they're throwing that hard, you kind of just, pray a little bit that they throw it around where your glove is set up, because it's coming. It's going to be there quick, but obviously with Mason, no problems there. He's around the zone, but 103 is moving.
I know for people like me, we look and we like to project. I think you're a 30 home run guy.
I appreciate that.
I watching last year, watching you evolve as a hitter, because catchers, like you said, you're going to be catcher first, and you can't go and work on your swing the way other guys can, because you take so much abuse as a catcher. You can't spend as much time as in the cage working on your hack. Your body just won't be able to take it.
Yeah.
But as you evolved and we saw you get better and make adjustments, we really started to see the power come. Just talk about what offensively. I mean, 30 is a huge number for a catcher. I think you got it in you, but just talk about offensively how you evolved last year.
Yeah. Like you said, you kind of get over the course of the year, you get beat up as a catcher, and your body's never, opening day, I'd probably say you're 100%, maybe second game still 100%. And then from there, it's just slowly ticking down. So it's constantly, maintenance, taking care of yourself, nutrition, sleep, being on top of that stuff to give yourself the best chance to every day show up to the field and feel good. At the beginning of the year, I wanted to do so good that even when I wasn't feeling at my best, I was still trying to, I think we talked about it a little bit last year, I was still trying to go up there and hit home runs. And then the second half of the year kind of made that adjustment. It's like, okay, I came into the field every day. It's like, okay, like not feeling great, but I'm, obviously feeling good. Like I'm going to go play. I'm going to catch 9 innings, obviously, but kind of just toning it down a little bit. Like stop trying to hit the long ball. Just focus on getting a good swing off in the strike zone, like the pitch that I'm looking for, and just staying true to that. And I think we talked about it at some point last year. It's like, like you're starting to hit these home runs now. What's going on? It's like, honestly, I stopped trying to hit them. And then it's just crazy how baseball works like that.
You're living your dream. You know that? You're living your dream.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's great to see you. You came over here because obviously Atlanta, we try and tell people all the time, that's what's great about Oakland. Everybody, this is where you have opportunity. It's the land of opportunity. And you came here starting catcher in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Feels pretty good.
Feels really good. Yeah.
All right. Travel agent on the way out. If someone to say you just went to Europe, and you said best part of the trip where everybody should have to go when they're traveling to Europe, what spot would it be?
Got to go to Rome, and you got to see the Colosseum. It's crazy. They built it, I think our tour guide said in 80 AD, so almost 2,000 years ago, and it's still standing, and it held almost 80,000 people for the Gladiator Games. I just think that's ridiculous, and I don't know how they built it. It's just baffling to me.
I got to tell you, it's been great to watch you mature as a catcher, as a player, and what you mean to this team. This team's better than people think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm getting that sense.
Yeah, it's close-knit team. Guys get along in the clubhouse. We have fun together, and we work hard, so I'm excited.
Stay healthy, have fun.
Absolutely.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field. Home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This is Chris Townsend, and if you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see my friends at the Chicken Pie Shop at Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
You know, when you look at what this team needed, the two guys that come in and really make it happen and change just the outlook are Ross Stripling and Alex Wood. Mark Kotsay wanted veteran pitching. He got veteran pitching. And you just wonder if Alex Wood can get back and have that opportunity to be a guy that can give you a ton of starts and a ton of innings. Now, a ton of innings in today's baseball obviously is, I would say, 150 to 180 innings.
Fair.
That'd be fair. And he has done that. Like 2015, he did 189 and 2/3, 152 and a third in 2017, 151 and 2/3 in 2018. And then all of a sudden, well, obviously 2020 was the COVID year, but then he goes to the Giants, and then with the Giants, they're just like, 138. I mean, you only get so much opportunity. We found out yesterday from David Force, the general manager, that the big thing for Alex Wood was being told, oh, we're going to start you and throw you as much as we possibly can. And that was music to his ears. Because obviously he wants to get back to like whatever. Every starter wants to be a guy that goes every 5 days. You want 30 starts. And I mean, ideally you like 200 innings, but
I'll give you between. I'll go modern day, however you guys like to put it now, Cody. You don't care anymore about wins. 150 to 180. If we got that from Alex Wood, that would be huge.
100% agree. And I think that as you'll hear in the interview, he talks about what he learned from Clayton Kershaw. That's a pretty good left-handed pitcher to learn from when you're a young pitcher with the Dodgers. And Alex has had
He was 16 and what?
Yeah, he was really
1
good.
year?
Yeah, he was really good with the Dodgers.
Hold on. He had 1 year. He had a monster year early with the Dodgers where he was 16 and 3, 27 games, 25 starts with a 2.72 ERA.
Yeah, he led the league in win percentage at 84%.
Last year, he pitched in 29 games, 12 starts. Like, are you kidding me? How the Giant people are baffled on how the Giants handled their starting. So forget me. Giants people who cover the Giants, like the whole Farhan Kapler thing. I get it. The 1 year they won 107 games, but there was a lot of just highly questionable moves. And then now you bring in Bob Melvin because now Bob Melvin is going to supposedly bring you some stability and some normalcy. Because you weren't getting that with Kapler. And you just look at how many times people said, oh, the Giants, they just don't have anyone to start. And you go, yeah, they do. They just won't start them.
Yeah, like Minaya was pitching out of the bullpen. And Jacob Junis
How
was
is
pitching out of
Alex
the
Wood
bullpen.
only get 12 starts out of 29 appearances?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just how they operated.
That's how they were rolling. Not here.
Yeah, they had one guy, and it was Logan Webb they used every day. Every 5 days.
I mean, you just heard Mark Kotsay. It's going to be a big thing to get innings out of these guys, especially early in the season. It's what Alex Wood wants. It's what Scott Emerson wants. It's what Mark Kotsay wants. He's what this team needed. Him and Ross Stripling needed a couple veteran guys to come in and supply this franchise and supply the starting staff with some consistency. Well, he's going to be a big player for the A's this year. So what does that mean? Means we tracked him down right here for A's Cast Live. You for years pitch against the green and gold, and now you are one of us. How are you? How have you been? How was the off season?
Yeah, it was good, man. I have a little 17-month-old son, so it went by quick chasing him around all off season. But no, it was a good off season. I'm feeling good, so excited to be here and get outside in cleats and be around the boys. So love being around the clubhouse. So it's been good so far.
We talked to the general manager, David Forrest, and he said there was a lot of excitement for you where, coming here, it's about innings, it's about starts, and you're going to get a lot of it, and it fired you up.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about the opportunity for sure. Get back to starting every 5th day after last year. It's I'm excited to take on, the veteran leadership role and just impart anything I can on a lot of the really great young arms we've got around here. And it's been a blast. Everybody's been cool so far. We've had a pretty good camp up to this point. And so looking forward to getting games going and seeing where we're at.
Yeah, we don't want to disparage anybody or any other organization, even though the guys you did play for, we love to get after a little bit. But there is something about, all right, you're coming here and we're going to expect 150 innings. We'd like to see that. We'd like to see 30 starts, something that you think back to your Dodger days. I mean, when you start to think about certain things you would like to accomplish, do you think about that starts wise, inning wise, what you would like to see from yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if I personally set any actual marks, but the goal is to start every 5th day all year, and I feel like I've, every year I try to get my, program and 5-day plan and all that stuff, take care of my body as much as possible, and beyond that as much as I can. So I feel like my program is really great. I feel my body feels good. And so I'm definitely excited for that opportunity and hopefully help anchor the staff over the course of the year.
When you go through an off season and you haven't signed yet, what is that like? Do you get a little antsy when you're starting to think about what 2024 was going to look like?
It's more, it wasn't my first time being a free agent, so I know how it can kind of go, even though this offseason was, definitely an outlier compared to years past for me and really what I've seen over the course of my career. But I would say anxious, more just guys want to sign. They want to go ahead and sign, get it done with, be a part of a team, know where they're going, get everything set up, start to talk to the staff, start to talk to other players. So it's for me, it's more about that. And so it took till mid to late January till I signed here, and then it felt like it came so quick after it happened. But sometimes it's the way it goes. It's business. The teams are going to do what they're going to do, and so sometimes you're just at the mercy of the pace of the market. But I feel good. It's been great getting to know the guys so far, and we've had a great camp.
Yeah, you're exactly what the doctor ordered for us, because we look at last year and how the year started. Because I think what you're going to be able to tell us is that there's a lot of young, really good talent in that clubhouse.
No doubt, yeah.
Just need some veteran guys to help get them going where they need to go. And that was what we didn't have early last year in the start of the season. Just talk about when you walk into that clubhouse, how you're excited to see that type of young talent, because it's coming.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of great arms, and I was fortunate to have a few great guys early in my career that kind of showed me the way and what it takes and what it looks like to be a big leaguer and succeed at this level and last at this level. And so that part of it, I'm really, really excited about. It's something I have, been vocal about, with David even before I signed and up to this point. And so it's going to be great to see guys grow. I mean, you take, like, when I was in San Francisco, you take Logan Webb, my first spring training with him to even the end of that season, what he developed into, and the shift in mentality and focus, and not saying that I had anything to do with that. It was all him, but being able to impart your own experiences over the course of a long career, the things you've learned and things you see from guys that have had a lot of success at this level, there starts to be different commonalities and certain things that just a lot of the best players do, and you see it in their focus and their work every day. And I'm hoping to keep that bar high as far as what the work expectations are and the focus and the preparation. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
What'd you learn from, like, Clayton Kershaw as a young pitcher?
I mean, the biggest thing with Kershaw, I think that if anyone was to answer that question, was just his extreme focus and work ethic. It'd be hard to find somebody that on a day-to-day basis is as focused and works as hard as he does. It really is remarkable. And the best guys I've played with, especially on the pitching side of the ball, they have that. They have their dedicated routine that they're not missing a beat at pretty much every day, year round. It's not just in season, it's out of season too. And just his extreme focus, towards a singular goal is unmatched for sure.
And I think about, in everybody's career, you evolve. There's things that you change. There's things that you go back to, hey, this is how I even got here. Now that you're a veteran pitcher, what do you think your game is now that you've evolved to this? Where are you now?
Yeah, I think, I think the guys that last in this game, no matter what your position is, no matter what kind of year you have the year before, the offseason heading into the next year is spent trying to be better than you've ever been. Even if you have, a Blake Snell type Cy Young year, I guarantee you that guy went into the offseason and had things he was trying to do to make himself better than he was the year before. And so I think, as on a basic level, it's having realistic goals, trying to identify things you want to get better at, and figure out how to do that. And it starts there, and you just kind of work your way up.
I always think it's interesting for pitchers how you guys change in the offseason, because obviously with hitters, you can hit all day long. You can't do that as a pitcher.
For sure.
Plus, you want to take time off. You want to rest. You want to heal. You got a young one you said you're chasing around.
Yeah.
So talk about, and we'll let you get out of here, but talk about what that's like, where you only have so much time. It's a few months, and you're not going to train the entire time to do pitch shaping, pitch developing, to change, to tinker, whatever you need to take. Yeah. You don't have that much time. So it's really figuring out, it's really precious timing and handling how you handle that.
For sure. I think I've been a plyo guy for several years now, and that's been a blessing for my career. As far as being able to work on your throw every day and not just, the days you get on the mound. And I think, it's just one of those things where the off season is really the only time. It's very difficult in season to try and make significant changes mechanically, or pitch design, because, you talk about not being able to throw every pitch every day like hitters are able to go in the cage and work on things every day. You have more time to do that in the off season because you're not technically competing. You're able to actually go in and play with things and try and work on things. In season, it becomes much more difficult because you probably have one side in between. And then it's competition time, and all that stuff goes out the window. It's hard to go out there and work on, truly work on stuff in the middle of the season, in the middle of the start when you're trying to go out there and win. So, I enjoy that part of it. I think, a lot of the guys that I play with that have been really good and have lasted a long time, you enjoy the process, the stuff that happens every fifth day during the season. Is a byproduct of all of the work that you're putting in on a daily basis throughout the offseason and in between starts in the season.
Well, I can tell you, we were in Nashville at the winter meetings, and we're sitting around going, just relax. It's going to be a while, but David Force will get out there. We're going to get some veteran pitching. And the minute your name came up and we found out, it's like, you're exactly what the doctor ordered. A lot of people super excited to have you here. We look forward to have you on the program throughout the season. So good luck, stay healthy. And next time we talk to you, we'll be in Oakland.
Sounds great. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live. You bet we got more coming up next. Excited about him. I mean, how many guys have come to Oakland? Because, and it's almost, he wouldn't be an apples to apples comparison, because a lot of guys that have come here have been veteran guys who need to reinvent themselves. He's not in that category, but it's a chance for him to kind of get back to what he wants to be. But this isn't like Scott Kazmir, Bartolo Colon-ish.
No.
But plenty of guys have come back here or come here to hopefully find their careers.
A good example I brought up yesterday is Rich Hill. Rich Hill's he pitched well for the A's, traded to the Dodgers, and I don't think he's signed anywhere yet, but as they call him, Dick Mountain will be back, and he'll probably get signed by someone because he'll eat up some innings this year. Did it last year for, was it the Pirates in San Diego or Boston? Wherever, he goes traded 3 times last year. But he's still pitching. And I think Alex Wood, hit 33 years old, could be a
lot left in the tank.
Yeah.
A lot left in the tank. And it's what it also shows too is the communication between the front office and the manager. That this was an off season that Mark Kotsay was able to say, hey, man, this is what I need for us to get better.
Yeah.
You need to do this because maybe where the money was spent, right? Like last year, the money was spent and still it's being spent on Aledmus Diaz, Jace Peterson.
Yeah.
And so why are you spending money on that? Well, go out and get pitching. Go out and get some starters because, let's face it, last year, kind of let's go with a lot of young guys, starting pitchers, and see how it works. And now you get some veteran guys in here to go with some of the younger guys, and it's a very good mix. Or at least on paper, at the very start, it looks like it's a very good mix.
Yeah, I think the additions of Wood and Stripling, like we've talked about, will really help the pitching staff. But I want to see how their influence helps guys like Boyle and Estes and Waldichuk when he comes back, and Medina, and the other 8 guys we named yesterday, Mitch Spence, Freddie Tarnock, Roy Bear Salinas. There's so many guys that a lot of people are, and including us, are excited about seeing.
We haven't really talked about Luis Medina.
I know.
Who has some of the best stuff. And Kyle Moeller, I actually probably wasn't on the air, but Shea Langeliers said to me, I think as we were walking down here, so I was saying, yeah, we had Mueller on. He's like, Kyle Mueller's got the zip back. He's got the zip back on the fastball. So there's quite a few guys, but Medina was somebody that at one point, wasn't it Fangraphs who wrote the article that said Luis Medina is now pitching with the ace-like stuff? Wasn't that in July of last year?
I believe it was Fangraphs that wrote about that. Yes, I remember seeing that article about it.
Was it July or August? I think it was July.
Because I'd have to look and see what his best month was, but that sounds about when he was pitching his best. Let's see. Luis Medina.
Fangraphs. I want to say it was in July, where there's like, hey, look at this guy's got ace-like stuff, and the numbers are showing it, and the data is showing it.
August 3rd of 2023. It's just called Luis Medina is dealing.
So it was August 3rd. So it's what he did in July.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not even talking about him. We're absolutely not. I mean, so it's like, yeah, we're going to sit here and look at it. And once again, don't be a prisoner of it, because you're not going to throw 5 guys. And the 5 guys we're throwing out now doesn't mean it's going to be the 5 guys when we open against Cleveland and Stephen Vogt for opening day. But the 5 guys now that you're looking at, you're going to look at, we should say JP Sears, give him that respect, the 32 starts, Wood, Stripling, Blackburn, and a lot of people think around here Boyle.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You say those 5. Joey Estes, who we've had on the program, could be one of those 5. Luis Medina can be one of those 5. Kyle Muller can be one of those 5. I mean, Ken Waldachuk would have been in the conversation, but he had the elbow procedure. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could vie for a spot right now, and that's a very, very good thing.
Yeah, in 4 games, 3 starts in July, Medina was 1-1 with a 2.86 ERA. In 22 innings, he had 27 strikeouts and 5 walks. So that was his best month by far.
Arm-wise and talent-wise, because Mason Miller would have been that guy who said, oh, that's the best talent, but he's now out of the equation as he's now a back of the bullpen guy. So if you take Mason Miller out, if you just say pure stuff, is anybody have better stuff than Medina?
I would go with I would say no, no. When it comes to the way his arm is,
just arm talent.
Yeah, no. Now that Miller's now going to be potentially the closer, I think there's no one even close to the arm talent that. I know a lot of people are high, like our good friend Eno Saris is really high on Joe Boyle. I think Medina is the guy that has the electric arm that could really wow some people more this year if he can figure it out and command a little bit better.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who can effortlessly throw 101, 102 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And has breaking stuff, off-speed stuff, and it's an extremely athletic delivery. I know he's kind of thin, but he's super athletic, Luis Medina. I mean, and one of the things Scott Emerson, and we're going to hear from Scott Emerson, the pitching coach, that what Scott Emerson had talked about was the stuff that they were doing last year that leads into the offseason, that all pays dividends for this coming year. Even though we want it to happen last year, but just the process of the way human beings and the way athletes learn and work, you start making changes, and those changes take a little bit of time. Maybe the changes, and we're going to see it in spring early, but are you going to be shocked if Medina comes out and he's hard to hit, and you're staring it right in the eye, like, who are we going to put in the rotation? And if Medina is just dominant, he has the ability to be dominant. What are you going to do with him if somebody else has maybe got a little tweak, maybe they've had some struggles, and Medina's just absolutely dominating people? You send him back to Vegas?
Yeah, no, and I know if David Force is and others, but mainly Force because we've talked to him so many times, and I've talked to him in the office. He's very high on. They're all high on Medina because of the arm talent, and I think he probably starts the year up here. But I think they want to get him innings, so I'm not saying he would start the year in Vegas in AAA, but
be in the bullpen as a long guy.
Yeah, I think that David Force has said though he Medina's a starter. So I think they want to give him as much opportunity.
Hey, the guy that can be a long guy and a spot starter is a very valuable guy in baseball now.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you want to get him a chance to get some innings, you want to put him in Vegas. I don't know what that does for people's confidence because the ball flies everywhere there. If you just want to get him innings, sure, but I think you can get him innings on the big league club pitching and relief for mixed spot starts, or if someone goes down, or if you just want to use someone different, if someone's not performing like they should be.
Who's a guy that I'm high on his talent? Outfielder.
Oh, Bleday.
Watching JJ Bleday, you see guys. Now the production may not be there, and that's the most important thing. But you see guys and you see flashes, and you go, "Oh yeah, this guy's got talent. He's got size. He's got athletic ability." And you see why he was drafted in the first round, number 4 overall. That's a really high draft pick. And J.J. Bleday is somebody that, man, if he puts it together, you literally could have like an all-star type player.
Oh, absolutely.
Power, speed, arm strength. He was the number 4 pick in the draft at a college, at a Vandy. When you're the number 4 pick, when you're let's just say this, when you're a top 5 pick, and especially as a college guy, that means you were at the top of the board for everybody.
Yeah, and he was this is even the way he does his interview. Oh, wow.
Wow. Dallas Braden in a sling.
I wasn't expecting. Hold on, I got to move things around.
What are you guys up to?
Does it mean you're not going today?
Not today.
Tomorrow?
Maybe tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll see how.
How you doing, big fella?
I'm literally hanging in there.
So last time I saw you, you were really hanging by a thread at fantasy camp.
Yes.
You said you were going to get surgery.
Yes.
How'd it go?
It is still attached. Townie, this is year 12. I've been making a push for the baboon ligament transplant. And I don't know if it's an FDA thing. I just haven't been able to pin down the right knife.
Can you climb trees now?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's been my whole theory. Like, could you imagine what kind of stuff I'd be able to chuck up there with a baboon ligament in there? The way that they.
Oh yeah.
That's
you might make a comeback.
That's low to mid 9s, Saudi, for me.
Could you call games? Because you could get the workout in.
Sure.
Come up, call games, but still go every 5 days.
Doable. I feel like, come on. I'm no Shohei, but they've got rules. They've been moving things around for a guy like Shohei, right?
That's 2 paychecks. That would be getting a paycheck from the A's and NBC. That would be awesome.
I think I am far better served as far away from the mound.
But how cool would that be?
Today.
How cool would that be?
That would be
Starter,
great.
color analyst.
That'd be great.
And podcaster.
Well, you know what's funny is I was just listening to the great Mr. Kendrick, president of the Negro League Museum.
Yeah.
And he was telling the story about how Frank Robinson was told, "Hey, we want you to manage, but we also want you to play.
We need the bat in the lineup."
And he's like, "I don't know if I can do that. There's a lot going on there." And he said, "No, Frank, you don't understand. We want you to play and we want you to manage. So that's what's going to happen." And he's like, "Oh, okay. So
was it shoulder?
Shoulder done. Yeah. It was finally like one of the last muscle tendons that hadn't been completely torn off the bone and just shredded. And so went ahead and checked that last box, and now we're good to go."
I by the way, this is which camera are we looking into? We're looking at, all right. So this was not planned, and I know, and I've been trying to put this lightly, but we understand with all the noise going on away from the baseball field. I get it. We're here to cover what's happening on the field and these players. And last year I was real honest. I knew it was going to be a rough year. We talked about that, but we were okay with that because you learn from getting your ass handed to you, right? As a young athlete, you learn that in all sports. You learn that. Being around here for the last few days, talking to these guys, everybody's a little older. Everybody's a little different. I'm sorry, Dallas. I'm starting to get a little excited. I'm starting to go. I'm like, we just had Alex Wood. You throw in Stripling. You got these veteran guys. We knew we needed the innings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the younger guys there's a lot of athleticism. There's a lot of hungry guys. Lawrence Butler was here going, hey, they're all following it on Twitter. They're following it. They know that it's an us against the world mentality. The A's are going, and I know I'm saying this, and if it doesn't happen, people are going to come back and rip me, but I'll stand on it right now. The A's are going to be just not better. They're going to be far better than people think.
Well, I think when you talk about the attitude That is what I pay attention to first and foremost. That's what I want to get a sense of. And I think we really started to get a sense of what the future, what this year and next year and years beyond can look like when we got some of those younger guys that came up and made the splashes and made the impacts that they did, right? You mentioned with the Law Dogs, the Gellies, like those guys coming up and just showing what they're all about. That is going to help some guys that also came along with them, guys like Sodi, right? Soderstrom. These guys start to develop and they understand who they are as players. They don't care that it's at the big league level. They don't care that it's at the A-ball level. They know how good they are and they want to win, and they have personal expectations of themselves. And just because they're in the big leagues now and there's a lot of noise going on around them and maybe not anything to do with what's going on the field, that's not going to affect them. And that's the beautiful part about this game is you can take all of that noise and block it out, or then you can funnel it and let that be a motivator as well. And I think this young group has done a phenomenal job already of figuring out just how to splice that. And you sprinkle in some of those veteran names that you talked about, and now you're talking about some stewardship amongst a young group who is itching to show just how good they really are.
You're a great guy to ask as someone who covered your career. When you first came up, you were a guy that was trying to survive. And then all of a sudden, Dallas Braden, you had a run there where Dallas Braden was going out to win games. You'd matured. You'd kind of figured some stuff out, and you just weren't. And it's fun to talk about, and I always like to highlight this when talking about your career. You went out there to pitch the entire game. That's the kind of confidence that you established in your career as you matured. You were there to complete the game. It was your day. It was your – so when you start to think about some of the younger players here, what you have seen, do you see what you saw in yourself and felt? Are you starting to see it with these guys where you're now saying they're not here to survive, they're now coming here to win?
Well, absolutely. And I think there's a couple guys, Paul Blackburn, I think, is a guy that might sit at the top of that list just because of some of the adjustments that he himself has had to make and battle through the health, right? Yeah. And then there's a guy like JP Sears, a guy like Ken Waldachuk, who I paid a lot of attention to just because of, maybe more specifically some of their pitch usage and their sequencing and their pitch selection, and watching that grow and watching that mature. And I think what we have to take note of, and you always have to remember, is what's being asked of these athletes today is a little different, is far different, maybe from what was being asked of myself and guys that came before me. So now I think the attention needs to be paid to the quality of work that we're putting in between our outings, so that when we do take the ball every 5 days, we know that in this space, in this opportunity that we're going to be given, we are as prepared as we could possibly be. And the mentality, I still believe, should absolutely be to go out there and not allow a single base runner. I need to pitch all 9 innings. And we just kind of work backwards from there.
How important is it for a young athlete, and go back to when you were trying to make it, that every single moment, that whole thing of putting it in the universe and you got to believe, and if you don't believe, who's going to believe it? Every single time you step in and you put your uniform on, you're in the clubhouse, every single drill, is the purpose of, I'm going to be in the rotation, that I'm going to be in the big leagues. How important is it to have that feeling and acting like everything I'm doing is to be on the big league club?
Well, it's paramount. And I think that's why it's really important to get here early as a group, whether it's pitchers and catchers showing up a couple weeks early and position guys also here a little early, just so you get a real sense of who's all pulling in that same direction, right? And you start to close those ranks. That circle's big day one of spring training. It gets a little bigger when you bring out the whole entire group. And then honestly, from that next week on, that circle starts to shrink ever so slightly, right? Might be a player or two here this week, a few players next week. And by the end of this thing, we're down to 26 and we're heading north. And so I think because of that, that is what has to transcend all of the other noise that we talk about, is preparing within the ranks to go and tackle 162.
These guys aren't hearing the noise. I mean, they'll read about it. I think Lawrence and he watches the show. He talks about it, and it's great, right? Him and Bobby Crosby watch the show, but for the most part, I mean, you can't even focus. I mean, that's the outside noise, whether we're talking about ballparks and relocation, all that stuff's so far out of your control as a young athlete. That doesn't really affect you, right?
And honestly, what it does, at least for myself, because, as a player, I went through the same thing that these guys are going through right now. Some of that outside noise. And it almost becomes easy at a certain point to just block it out and not be, because it's so far, quote unquote, above your pay grade. You're not in the meetings. You're not having those conversations. So why would you even concern yourself with something like that? It is so far out of your control. What you can control is your effort level and the productivity, right? Control the controllables. It's something that we take from the field and try to apply in everyday life. Control the controllables. And I think these guys have done a fantastic job of showing that they have the capacity to do that.
Power arms. There are now a ton of power arms in the bullpen. We just talked to Jackson. You think about Jimenez. You bring God over. Ursig is back. Mason Miller, who we've talked to, it's going to be, him learning that new role. But we always said not a whole lot of velo in the bullpen. Now a ton of velo in the bullpen. And a lot will be like, how does Mason Miller adapt to being the closer? Mm-hmm. But he's not going to get worked hard. He's not going to get worked a lot. It's like all of a sudden there's a lot of options. Talk about all the options you see at the back of the bullpen.
Well, and especially in a game where you're constantly figuring out how to match up, right? And if you're dealing with a rotation who is coming along, and as you highlighted, Townie, starting to learn how to get deeper into ball games, there's going to be days where it's going to be really easy for Mark Kotsay and the staff to go, all right, 7th, 8th, and 9th, done deal. 8th and 9th, done deal. And then there's going to be days where we're going to have to get through this 5th here. We're going to have to get into the 6th and 7th. What does that look like? Who's the bridge? Who can close the gap, right? Plus side, minus side. But I think what you take advantage of is the confidence you have as a manager now that you have horsepower down there. If you need a swing and miss in a big spot, you feel like you got guys that can go do that. And you're not really wasting somebody early in the game because it's a leverage scenario. And now you've got a few guys down there that you feel really good about handing the ball to in that leverage scenario that can get you out of that turmoil in that one inning and then flip it over and get you 3 outs in that next inning as well. So I think there's a lot to like about what's down there. And I think Mason Miller specifically, when you think about a young closer or a young bullpen arm, I think initially you try to find some soft landing spots. And you try to make things comfortable or as comfortable as you can for guys who are just sort of entering the fray in that regard. I don't know that he's somebody that necessarily needs those training wheels. And maybe if he does, I don't know how long they stay on, because this is a guy who, as he's identified himself as, low motor guy. But when you talk about a low motor guy who's got a centralized focus on 3 outs, whether that be in the 8th or the 9th inning. Now I feel like you've got a guy who understands his job, knows what he needs to go and do, is going to learn how to prepare to go and do that, and can really help this team and Mark Kotsay and his staff work backwards in that bullpen, which I think is ideal as a manager. You want to be able to have those last 3 outs accounted for and kind of work back from there. And the fact that you've got multiple guys that you feel like you could lean on in that spot right now, it's a pretty good spot to be.
I know for Mason, it's just like, throw 100 and 200 and 3. All you need is your slider, and that's all you need. That's it. You're not having to turn the lineup over. You're not like 100, 203, slider, and that's all you need. 1, 2, 3, and we're going and crushing the spread.
Go get them.
Right?
It's a pretty simple equation.
We're not asking you to be out here for 6 innings, 3 outs, and we go home.
I'm with it, Townie. I'm with it.
So you got the big NBC dinner tonight?
Yeah, that's it. Come in. Get to hang out with my new partners.
We had them on yesterday.
Yes.
Ginny and Chris.
Yes. So I'm very excited about that.
So, I mean, knowing you can't make it too easy for him. You got to.
Well, how about Chris already dropped the Mr. Braden on me.
Yeah.
So I had to let him know publicly. If you ever call me Mr. Braden again, you'll be calling the next inning with 2 black eyes.
So you're going to have to, I mean, they're rookies. You're going to have to.
Rookies with, Chris may be a rookie or so. He's got some pedigree to him, and I think we understand where that pedigree comes from.
Got some family pedigree, no question.
He's not walking into the big leagues with no idea of how this goes. And
I told him, because, you can tell that there's a little like, I want to ease into it, because I'm like, bro, use the family name. I'd change my name to Carey right now if I could. right?
Hey,
use it for everything you got.
There's no way you show up to the course with that club in your bag and just leave it in the
If
bag.
my last name was Nicholas or Wood for golf, I would use that, no doubt about it.
That's it.
And then Jenny, obviously everybody's known her for a long time. She's very, very sweet. It's going to be 2 partners. I like it because I tried to explain it yesterday. Is like in the modern day broadcast world, normally there's multiple people who do games. We were kind of in the old school mode of just the same 2 people day after day after day. I like that there's going to be some different people.
Well, I think what it does too is it offers the fan base an opportunity to just take the game in from a couple different perspectives. And I think with the professionalism coming and the experience coming from Jenny's background and her involvement in baseball, familiarity with the Rockies, this isn't something new for her. She's a pro's pro.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And from the perspective of Chris, like I said, going to be his first year in the big leagues, but a wealth of knowledge when it comes to baseball. And again, the pedigree. So watching how he thinks about the game, views the game, speaks about the game from a youthful perspective is going to be exciting as well, because it's something that I don't think the fans have really had.
Well, I got to tell you, Dallas, I think this team, 50 wins was just so bad. So improving on that, to me, not as, but I think there's going to be a dramatic improvement. Mark Kotsay was just here a little bit ago, and you can tell the edge is there. Like we joked, the kid gloves are off. The expectations are you better come here ready to win.
Well, if you know anything about Mark Kotsay, and which I know a whole lot about, like that's the expectation every single day. And that has been the expectation every single day that he has put a pair of cleats on, from the time he was a little leaguer to the time he was winning Golden Spikes awards to 17 years plus in the big leagues, Townie, and it ain't by a mistake. So to have that guy leading the ship, you better believe that there's expectations this season that may not have been there last year, but it's because of what he saw unfold, what you and I saw unfold on the field. So whether or not Fangraphs or Baseball Reference and the Zips projections are going to be kind to the Oakland A's, they don't give a damn. Yeah. They don't give a damn, because they're pulling for each other in that room, and they're pulling all in the same direction. That's what matters.
And then he taught us, did you know that Smokin' Jim Leland, the new Hall of Famer, is a great piano player / singer?
I did not.
Blew us away.
I did not have Jim
Leland. Away.
I did not have Jim Leland, the pianist, being a.
I was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "You get Jim liquored up," and he goes, he starts singing, he starts going. He's like, "It's incredible."
Could you imagine?
Would that be like the greatest thing ever? A piano bar with Jim Leland,
just Jim Leland ripping heaters, racket man, tickling the ivory. I am here for every minute of that.
Heart darts and piano man. That would be the best. I'm ready to go, man.
So am I. I'm so pumped.
Games haven't even started yet, and I'm ready to go.
Tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, game 1. Tomorrow, Big Joe Boyle on the mound.
Saturday.
What's today?
What is today? Today's Thursday? I'm ready to go.
I thought it was
Friday. When you guys have a broadcast, right?
The 15th. Giants game.
Because if I don't get that in, Delaire text me. So you're there on the 15th.
15th Giants game right here at Hohokam.
And that is the game Steve Vucinich is going into the Cactus League Hall of Fame.
Announced on our field that day?
Yeah.
Oh,
come on.
I'm with that.
Hey,
I am with that.
I cannot wait.
To see you, big guy.
Congratulations on the new partners.
Commander.
Congratulations on the new wing.
Thank you.
And we expect a lot of you on A's Cast this year.
I'll be there.
Because more Dallas Braden is better for us on A's Cast
exactly
than A's Cast
what
Live.
Everybody's clamoring
the
for.
Fan base. I'll never forget Dallas Braden on a day off went up to it was like you couldn't you'd fall off if you went even.
That's my spot.
By yourself. And next thing I look up, and there's a fan, and then there's 3 fans, and then next thing you know, it's a Disneyland line. They love you, man. They love you.
Well,
we love you.
They make it happen for us, buddy.
We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Hey, it's Eno Saris, your friendly neighborhood baseball scribe. There are two things I love, baseball and beer. When I'm not busy around the ballpark, you'll likely catch me back with a cold one at any of Fieldwork Brewing's 8 locations sprinkled across the Bay Area. Fieldwork's got a rotating lineup of over 20 beers on tap that's as diverse as any 26-man roster. They got everything from super juicy hazy IPAs to crisp pilsners and tropical sours that make your taste buds do the wave. Whether you're all about that draft life or prefer to grab some cans to go, Fieldwork's got your bases covered. Check them out at fieldworkbrewing.com to learn more. That's fieldworkbrewing.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
A's general manager David Forst was on A's Cast Live during the winter meetings and explained why the team was moving Mason Miller to the bullpen.
Mason's tried starting now over 3 years, minor leagues, big leagues, keeps coming up with something, and we're going to try the pen. And you know, to Mason's credit, he's open to whatever. He's obviously a little disappointed. I think everybody wants to be the starter when it comes down to it. But I mean, he, you know, obviously, like you said, with his stuff, he could have a really impressive career in the bullpen. But we told him this is not permanent. Like, go out there, let's try and keep you healthy for a year. That's got to be the first step. That way you help yourself, you help the team, and then we can reevaluate.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
If you're looking for a great place to eat and watch games, go see our friends at the Chicken Pie Shop of Walnut Creek. The Chicken Pie Shop is one of the hottest restaurants in Walnut Creek. You're not going to find a better menu, and come try their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next private party or corporate event. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Nick Allen joined Towney on A's Cast Live and discussed the conversation he had with his teammates regarding 2024.
Rooker came to Geloff and I a little bit, last year, but he was just like, we can't do this again. You know, we got to find a way to really work our, tails off to get better and put us in a better position. And then, Zach and I always talk about, we were like, sink or swim, especially in our division, so we got to find a way to make it happen. Else, it doesn't happen. So that's just I think that's hopefully going to be our motto, but we just got to obviously take it day by day and just keep getting better.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from A's Spring Training. Here's Chris Townsend.
I got to tell you, fired me up even more. How about you?
Yeah.
How do you not?
It's kind of funny seeing him walk around with a brace on his left shoulder. But speedy recovery, Dallas. But I'm excited about the pitching. We've been talking about the pitching a lot, and we were starting to talk about J.J. Bleday. I'm excited about J.J. Bleday. I think you mentioned it yesterday. You think he could be – this could be a breakout year for him, and I think this is the time for him. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Dallas showed up. I forgot we were talking about J.J. Bleday. But, yeah, J.J. Bleday, once again, I'll say it, he's got all-star type talent. The type of talent that there's a reason, and I think I was saying before we went to Dallas was, if you're drafted in the top 5, especially as a college guy, that means you're at the top of all 30 teams' boards.
Yes.
You may not be the top guy, but you're in the top 2, top 3. They're looking at, okay, most talented human being in this draft. You're in the top 3. If you're a top 4 pick, you're top, because what ends up happening, college, signability, there's a lot of things that go into it. But when you're a top pick, you're clearly, when you go into the draft room, you're at the top of everybody's board. At the very least, you're top 5.
Yeah.
But everybody you talked to, they said J.J. Bleday. J.J. Bleday could be the number 1 pick in the draft. He has that type of talent.
Yeah, and he really didn't get a lot of opportunities in Miami, and that's why the trade happened for A.J. Puck last year, and then got hurt last year for the A's halfway through. So this could be a big year for him if he can stay healthy. That's obviously a big question mark, but he looks healthy. He feels good, and I'm excited to see what the future brings for him because he could be the A's best outfielder. He has the best arm in the outfield by far.
Well, you saw flashes of look at the way he runs, look at the way he throws, look at the power. You saw flashes of what the scouts have been saying. It's now learning how to play at this level on an everyday basis, being consistent, and the only way to do that is to play. You can't learn how to do it every day unless you do it every day. And he's got to earn that right. But he does have that ability, and if he can figure it out, it could be something really, really special. And that's when we talk about you got a bunch of athletes in that clubhouse. When you talk about Lawrence Butler, we haven't even mentioned Denzel Clark. A lot of people think he's the best athlete that there is in the organization. Some people said he's one of the best athletes they've ever seen. Size, speed, and I mean, I'm telling you, we went from not that long ago having zero athleticism to now we're oozing athleticism.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember we heard a lot even from Bobby Crosby talking about Denzel Clark, and then there was an article that came out, I think it was Baseball America, it was like, Henry Bolte's the best.
Oh, my guy, Henry Bolte.
And I'm like, I don't know. Denzel Clark.
Me some Henry Bolte out of Palo Alto.
Yeah, when he's going to probably start the year in what? He might start in Double-A. If not,
he's got to start in Double-A, right?
I think he ended up making the high Lansing last year. Yeah, because he was with the Ports for a little bit, then he went to Lansing, so he might start in Lansing, but he'll be in Double-A at some point.
Lansing.
Yeah. It's our good friend Jesse Goldberg-Strassler.
All righty. Enough. Let's hear from J.J. Bleday. All right, good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Doing good. Feels good to be back.
We were just laughing off the air when you do this kind of stuff. It's like, well, if it's like during a game and you just went 3 for 4, heck yeah, I want to do this stuff.
Yeah.
So last year was interesting for you. I mean, obviously it was a big change. The trade, it's a new organization. There was a time where you really started feeling it and you got hurt. Mm-hmm. You just take us through like how this offseason went and reflect on what happened last year.
Yeah, off-season went great. Got stronger. Worked a lot on some speed stuff and just getting some basic strength back. I played a lot of tennis. I was in the cage a lot. But I was able to just go full speed with my knee. Fully recovered. So that was great. I didn't have to think about it. It's completely healed. Leading up to the injury, it got called up in probably a month into the season last year, and did well those first 3 weeks to a month, and then spent the whole season kind of adjusting, trying to figure out how am I gonna contribute here and kind of just be a day-to-day guy. And then I had that injury and kind of set me back a little bit. So once I came back, it was good, but I didn't still feel fully, recovered in terms of just baseball acclimated and, timing and just kind of getting into that routine again. But I was able to just hop right into the off season and get after it and get ready. I know what I needed to work on, and I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, it's interesting that the feeling of the injury, we were all holding our breath, and even to this day, you feel you got pretty lucky.
Oh, absolutely. And I went to Dr. Elatrage in LA, and that's what he said. I mean, just like it was MCL, ACL, more MCL, I thought, but it could have been a full year thing.
When you came over, I remember when we did the Zoom call with you. You were in Florida, and we were like, "Wow, we got a guy that's got primetime talent, right?" And I got the feeling that this is the year that baseball gets to see JJ Bleday. Do you get that sense?
Absolutely. That's all I've been telling myself.
This is showtime, baby. This is it. Let it all hang out. Show the talent.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it. You got the size. You got the speed. And I said this, and I don't want anyone to get upset, but I'm like, I want him playing center field. You can play center field.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, I pride myself on being an athlete. I think you can't take that out of the game. This is an athletic sport.
Yeah.
And you just got to do whatever you can to kind of be fluid and do it, to get a ball, throwing, hitting, just be an athlete. So I know I'm excited. And, that's the thing is visualize it, see it happen, focus, and, have fun and let it rip.
And then now that Lawrence Butler's come up and we got to see him, and I know people protected him and right, I'm like, LB can play center. So I think between the two of you, we have two legit guys. And I like the fact that both of you can. Well, I think what I like about all of you is that you can play all three positions, which is talk about how valuable that is to where for someone like Mark Kotsay, and now you're going to have Bobby Crosby working with you guys, is the fact that you got it's that flexibility where anybody can play anywhere. It really helps defensively.
It just goes back to being that athlete. I mean, if you can play center and feel comfortable out there and you're getting good reads, I mean, you can play anywhere. I mean, it's like if you're a shortstop in the infield, if you play short, you could probably play every position in the infield. Same goes with outfield. If you're doing well, getting good jumps in center, I mean, left and right, it's going to be a piece of cake for you.
So you talked about something you worked on with your hands coming to camp last year. What did you work on this year? Is it still the same thing? What are you working on?
Somewhat similar. Bushy and I, we started talking right when the season ended. Like I hopped right back in the cage because most of those guys were pretty tired from the season. I was like ramped up because
you're ready to go.
I had the rehab, and I was just like, I mean, I just feel strong, I feel good. I'm just going to go right into my off season and not take really much time off. So yeah, it's controlling the first 6 inches of the ball. And like the best way to explain it would be if you're hitting a ball off a tee, hitting a low liner over. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hitting a low liner over the second baseman's head, just like that ball flight. It's taking that into your.
Still keeping your hands inside.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Staying short to the ball, and then, as the rounds go on or whatever your work does, slowly increase the launch into that angle of the ball. But I mean, the big thing was just I want to be on time. I want to get my foot down. And I want to be able to see the ball to look like a grapefruit. I mean, when that foot's down, you're already in a position to hit. There was times last year where I'd have a leg kick or I'd just have a step, and I would just be getting beat way too often and way too frequently to where, you can't really adjust. You don't have that adjustability. So, staying in my legs more, controlling those first 6 inches, and just being a hitter. I could care less about the home runs right now. I want to be a good hitter.
It's amazing where you talk about simple parts. You said 6 inches. And now that I'm older and I don't play ball anymore, I'm a golfer. We talk about when you take the club back, it's those first 18 inches that you take the club back is the most important. It's like the little certain things are the most important, but they're so small. It's amazing to me because I don't know this because we didn't get to watch you come up. I mean, shocker, we didn't get to watch a lot of Marlins games when we were, it's just the way it is. Your era got it. They were trying to get you guys all to be so launch. Everything was launch.
Yeah.
And then once you talk about it, it's hard to adjust. And if you didn't know exactly what was coming, it was hard to adjust. You'd get beat. There was something about that. It seemed like so many guys that what they were teaching you, you're now trying to get away from.
Yeah, it's almost like we're going back to that old school mindset of like, people say swing down or whatever, or chop. You're not really chopping at it, but swing down, then you plane out. But yeah, I mean, like when you're hitting flips and just launching them at the top of the cage, I mean, that's just a loop swing. How are you going to hit 98 to 101 miles an hour?
You're stuck in behind
exactly.
yourself.
And you're you're going to swing and miss the majority of the time, or just hit foul balls and pop-ups. And you got to replicate that angle and just drill it into yourself and in your work to where when you do face that guy who's throwing 98, like a Spencer Strider, you take out that 7-iron or whatever, and you just put that bat on the ball and take that good swing. You can't take out the driver in those situations.
Well, he's going to supply the power, and you let the club do the rest,
Well,
right?
That too, yeah.
I mean, that's what I think about. And, you know, at the one thing with this team that I really like, and we really saw it last year, and I look at yourself, we mentioned Lawrence Butler, you talk about Ruiz, we had Nick Allen on earlier yesterday, Zach Geloff, athletes. I go up and down that clubhouse right now. I see athletes. This is the most athletic this club has been in a long time.
Absolutely. I mean, we're young, we move well, and I think it's just fun to be around and fun to see. Like you said, Nicky Allen and Zach up the middle. I mean that's just a good duo right there. And then Law Dog and Esty. You know, you just kind of just watch what they do and see how they're moving. It's just sky's the limit. So you know, I'm excited to be with these guys in spring and just kind of see where the year takes us.
I know Brent Rooker's up there doing an interview right now. You know, Brent Rooker was a guy that. I mean, he came to camp last year, and we're like, yeah, I know he had this great college career, and he was a high pick, and it hasn't really happened. I just don't see it happen. He made the club that night, the final cut, made the club. Next, all-star and everything. What did that mean, do you think, to this clubhouse when Mark Kotsay really brought him into it, saying, hey, listen, this guy, he was on the verge. If he would have got cut, who knows where his career is? Well, we know where his career is now. It just kind of tells everybody, your shot's here. Everybody's got, no one's blocked. No one's got a guaranteed long-term contract. Everybody's got a shot. What did that mean when basically Mark Kotsay told you guys that?
I think it means take advantage of the opportunity. I mean, the grass isn't always green on the other side. Like, might be better here, better there. It's like, no, take advantage of the opportunity given where you're at now. And that's what I saw with Brent last year is he was fighting for a spot, competing. I think that was the main thing is everyone's competing on a day-to-day basis. Even now, like nothing's really written in stone for anyone except, maybe a couple guys. But it's just compete and go out and take advantage of this opportunity because who knows, it could be one at-bat, it could be one play, it could be one pitch. You got to treat every opportunity almost like it's a Game 7 World Series. And he did a good job and earned that position. And look at the season he had.
Well, we know the extreme talent's there, whether you're going to be in left, you're going to be in center. You're comfortable in right. You can play anywhere.
I love right.
You think right's your number one?
I love throwing. Throwing is the best part of my outfield game.
True, and, you do throw. For a lefty outfielder, you throw really well.
What's that supposed to mean?
A lot of lefty outfielders, especially who are athletic, don't
they got
throw.
Little BBs?
They don't really throw it. If you think of the greatest throwing outfielders of all time, you exclude like Darryl Strawberry.
Yeah.
Most guys were right-handed.
Right. Yeah, like Vladdy.
I go back to like Jesse Barfield, Dave Winfield, the great Dave Parker, who we were talking
Jackson,
about. Bo Jackson. Not like Griffey threw well, but the most left-handed guys are not. You throw the equivalent of what be the arm strength of a right-handed outfielder.
Yeah. I'd say so, like mid-90s, mid-upper 90s.
So if you say, I know we got to let you go, but if we said, perfect, you and right, then right's your favorite?
No, I played in college in right field, and I just have the most reps out there. But wherever I'm
let's
just
put you in right.
Okay.
Butler in center, maybe Ruiz in left.
Yeah.
And let's go.
That's above my pay grade, but I'm just gonna
let's go. Well, I'm just gonna say this. I know you got extreme talent, and this is finally the time. This is the spring. This is where you're finally comfortable. This is where you can be you. They're going to allow you to be you. You let your hair down. You let it all hang out, and you let it go, man. Let it go. Let it finally just go and become the player you've always thought you were going to be.
Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate it.
It happens this spring. I can't wait to see it.
100%.
I believe, man. I believe. He's going to play big for us this year, no question. We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live. So I feel like I almost went into the Carrie Underwood. It's time to Jesus take the wheel.
It's like I think we've used that now twice down here.
I use it all the time.
I know, but
I use it on the golf course the other day. People are like, what? I'm like, yeah, you just got to let it go.
We're almost in.
Or that could be like Frozen. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, we're almost in midseason form.
What was it? Ina Medell. Who sang the song "Let It Go"? She's
something
a famous
like that.
Broadway.
Yeah. John Travolta butchered her name, and was it the Oscars or whatever? Idina Medell or something like that.
She's famous Broadway singer. We're butchering her name. Let it go.
Idina Menzel.
There you go. Bang.
No relation to Johnny.
That or Johnny Menzel.
No relation.
Johnny Football. Can never get enough of a little Johnny Football. Pitching. So JJ Bleday going to get an opportunity, obviously, to live up to what we all think he can be. Can't wait to see that. Can you imagine if Bleday, Lawrence Butler, and these guys really do figure it out together? Wow. That is a tremendous amount, because you're talking big guys, too. You're talking about a tremendous amount of athleticism and size.
Yeah.
Something that you can't teach size and speed. I mean, and you know the one guy that we really haven't even addressed while we've been down here, and kind of shame on us, and I got to go look at that article that I sent you and Ray. We haven't even talked about Ruiz.
Yeah. Because they haven't finished in like third stolen bases. It was Ronald Acuna, who Major League Baseball voted as the #1 player in baseball right now. I was shocked where Ohtani fell on that list. And then who was it after that? It wasn't Corbin Carroll.
I'm going to get the list. I know I just sent it to you guys, right?
Was it Corbin Carroll that was second?
Stolen base leaders.
I just remember Ruiz being third and Ronald Acuna, the reigning NL MVP, being first.
I'm going to be bringing this up. I'm doing the game with Johnny on Sunday. This will be something that I'm bringing up. So it was Acuna first. He's your favorite. C.J. Abrams.
That's right, from the Nats. Okay.
Former Padre farmhand who went over in the Juan Soto deal. Now plays shortstop for the Nats. He's number 2. Uri Ruiz for the Athletics is 3. 4 is Corbin Carroll. Who? We're in the Valley of the Sun. Who?
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't love this kid.
Yeah, he's fun.
By the way, I learned this during fantasy camp. We were down here for fantasy camp, and I was watching, was it Fox Sports Arizona, or are they Bally's
They're
now?
Bally's now, yeah.
I was watching a whole thing on everything he does in the community. Wow, this Corbin Carroll kid's special.
Bobby Witt on there, I think.
Bobby Witt Jr., not Bobby Witt Sr., who played for the Oakland Athletics.
Correct.
But Bobby Witt Sr., who's also an agent, and he's the agent of Bobby Witt Jr., who we just had who was the pitcher, pitched for us at the end of the year, is his son-in-law, Bobby Witt Sr., and he's the brother-in-law of Bobby Witt Jr. We had him at the end of the year, pitcher. God.
With the A's?
Yes.
I'm starting to remember, but what was the relation?
Pitched like the last game of the year. It's a son-in-law. He's married to Bobby Witt Jr.'s sister, Bobby Witt Sr.'s daughter.
Hold on. Zach
Neal out of USC. There you go.
Charlie Kennewick from Ace Productions coming in big.
We off the air discussing our spring training hats. Are we in or are we out? Because Izzy is up there wearing it right now. Are we in or out on me on the bucket hat?
I'm in. For you it'll be great. I'm not a bucket hat.
I don't know how it will look.
Guess we'll find it. You can try it on. See what it looks like.
But I mean, I'm wearing it. I'll be wearing it to wear it on the show. I'll wear it on the golf course, but I also want to wear it on the show.
Well, try it on. See what it looks like.
We're gonna have to do some shopping today.
Yeah.
Before you get out of here.
We'll have some time.
So we always love Scott Emerson and some of the interviews out, because we're going to do interviews later on today. We're going to do Brent Rooker. We're going to do Seth Brown. Who else is later? Paul Blackburn later today. So we'll get some of them in tomorrow and tomorrow's show, our last day here. But I'm staying here as Cody, the commander, will be leaving. But we'll be doing shows on Monday and Tuesday. I'll be doing it from the press box and all the stuff that we tape. If we don't have it in this show or tomorrow's show, we will have it for you Monday and Tuesday as we will start our regular programming, as we'll be on 2 hours A's Cast Live before every game Monday through Friday throughout spring training. But Scott Emerson, we got to get in before the game start because we're projecting with him. So as you know, Emo is a contributor to the show. He's on the show a lot. We're very thankful that we have one of the top pitching coaches in all of baseball, and we're very thankful that he likes to do these types of things. I put it this way, the minute he doesn't want to coach, he could have a job in this business. There's no question, but he's so generous with our time. He's so good. Here is the pitching coach of the Oakland Athletics. We're here with the pitching coach of your Oakland Athletics, Scott Emerson. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I think for you, the stable of pitchers you have going right now, you have to be pretty happy entering the games that are about to start here at spring training.
Yeah, our front office went out, did a great job of acquiring some guys that got pedigree, who've been in the game for a while. And, one thing it's going to do is help the young guys. And I'm really excited this year for the competition for the pitchers. And, on paper, it's a lot of fun. Now we just got to go out and do it during spring training, see who we got and what they can do. But I think a lot of people are excited about it.
We've talked about this over the years. When guys come up, there's guys who come here to win and there's guys who come here to survive. And last year, especially at the beginning of the year, you had a lot of survival going on. I don't get the sense you're going to have that. I think you're going to have the more veteran guys coming in and you're going to have a lot more guys coming here to win versus just being out there trying to survive.
Yeah, Medina 1 year older, a guy like Joe Boyle who got the taste of big leagues. Joey Estes got the taste of big leagues. Jimenez and Jackson 1 year older. I think, it's time for our guys to really understand that, we want to go out and win as many games as we possibly can. We want to, put the excuses behind us, the inexperience behind us, and go out there and play the game to the best of our ability and make pitches. I think, that's the one thing we've really stressed this spring training is, especially to the pitchers is, don't make a pitch and think about what happened. Make that pitch right now, live in the moment that we got to stay cool, calm, and collected and focus, one pitch at a time. And the most important pitch is the pitch we're making. And I think, that's the one attitude we're really trying to push. Guys make a pitch and then they wonder, if it wasn't a good pitch, what happened there? We got to get that before we're going to make the pitch. We got to be mentally strong enough to execute the pitches. And, that's what big leaguers do. They execute pitches. Greg Maddux one time said his perfect game was, throwing 100 good delivery pitches. And that's what I want our guys to do is make good pitches and then see what happens.
Sometimes guys are now so into their data that maybe they get a little away from, hey, man, you got to go get people out. Like, as you said, you throw a pitch, you wonder, well, why wasn't that a good pitch? Let's analyze every. Like, I get it. Not every pitch is going to be perfect, but you've got to focus. You got to get back on track. You got to get people out, no matter how great your stuff is or isn't. If you have your good stuff, you feel good, you don't feel good. Doesn't matter. You got to go play the game and get people out. How much do you stress that to the guys?
Well, we actually did in my opinion, a great job this offseason with our data team and the coaches collaborating on, what pitches are good for guys to use in certain situations, whether it's versus right-handers or it's versus left-handers. So we did a great deep dive on everybody this offseason. And, the data doesn't lie. Right. But neither does, pitching. So, there's a combination of everything. A guy is out there and he's throwing a couple pitches, maybe that we think that he's not throwing. We have the reasons and the answers to why he shouldn't be using this pitch that much or this pitch in these certain situations. So that's another thing that we did a great deep dive on this offseason, in my opinion, that we can take it one step further and, you have to execute those pitches still. And, there's always plan A. Plan A is what the data is telling everybody to do. That's where you start. And the reason why you start there is because that's the scouting report. That's what you got. Plan B is what your opponent is trying to do against you. And plan C, you come back into the dugout like, I ain't got it today. I gotta find a way. And that's where you get off, plan A. But data doesn't lie, and we got to understand that, and we got to let the guys know that your pitches work for a reason here. Just execute these pitches to these certain groups of hitters, and execute these pitches to these certain groups of hitters, and try not to get off the game plan. The only way you're getting off that type of game plan is if you don't have something that day and you totally got to change the game plan.
Well, let me tell you something. I've had a lot of plan A's on the driving range where it looks great and I feel great. Then I go putt and everything's going and great. And then I get on the golf course. Plan A turns into plan B, plan C pretty quick. I got to figure out how to get that ball in the hole, and plan A wasn't working.
Well, I'm gonna give you a kind of a good example. So every time I go to play golf, I want to pull out the driver. We all want to pull
plan
out.
A.
Yeah, that's plan A. I want to pull out the driver. And it's like, Emo, what did you shoot today? 97. I was in the bushes here. I was in the bushes there trying to hit my driver too much, right?
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine invited me to play golf in Orlando this offseason with a group of his friends, and they play a tournament style, right? So I got a lower driver that keeps me on the fairway a little bit. I don't hit it as far. But so I got to the point where I'm like, these guys are playing for, pride and respect. And we actually played for a medal and all this stuff. So I backed it down to the lesser driver to hit it on the fairway more. And then I look up, I'm like, dang, I'm scoring way better golf. And because I'm not trying to overdo something. And then, kind of by like the second day, the back nine, I went back to the big guy, right? And now my confidence was really good because I'm playing good. Now I'm hitting the big guy 50 yards farther on the fairway. That's kind of what we're talking about when you're looking at the data. You might think you're trying to throw a fastball really, really hard when all you got to do is throw a changeup in this situation, or all you got to do is throw enough strikes, land the fairway, land the strike zone. So that's kind of when I, was really thinking, man, we're, this deep dive this offseason with our data team is awesome. And you just got to understand what clubs you got in the bag and how to use them.
Yeah, well, it's pitching, as you say. You don't want minor league throwers. You want big league pitchers. You've been saying to us for years. That's the big deal. And we talked to Mark Kotsay about this, and I know you got to feel good about it, is that you've added these veteran guys who have the experience that can help give you innings and give you innings early, because it looks like you are going to have a very good bullpen. You can't burn that bullpen out early. How does it feel having some more veteran type players to go along with the JP Sears, who gave you 32 starts, to have this stable of guys start the year?
Yeah, I think it's great. Woody and Strip, they come in with, experience and pedigree that takes the pressure off of Paul Blackburn a little bit. And that takes the pressure off of JP Sears trying to think maybe they got to do a little bit more. And then now all of a sudden you're kind of backing up maybe the rest of the guys in that rotation to understand that, okay, these guys are the leaders and they've been doing that longer. They can eat up some more innings. And then the other guys start feeling confident and maybe not feeling pressure to be, you get a young pitcher who's got really electric stuff and they want to be the number one pitcher of a team, right? Well, they don't have to be right now. They can just eat, whether they start the first game of the season or not, they can still start to ease themselves in and not feel pressured. And adding those two guys to the rotation with the Sears and the Blackburn and everybody's competing, I think it's going to be really good. And that goes for Trevor Gott and Scotty Alexander in that bullpen, guys that have done it. Just talking to them is great, and listening to their feedback is awesome. And it's really fun to have. It kind of goes back to the days when we're making the playoffs, and now you got Minaya and Montas and Bassett as veterans, right?
Yeah.
Now we're plugging in veterans. So you got veterans sprinkled in with some other guys, and now we brought in veterans to sprinkle in with some other guys.
Yeah, and then you talk about that bullpen, as you just mentioned, the two guys have come in, and hopefully Jackson Jimenez are healthy because they're both electric arms. And then you got the ultimate electric arm and Mason Miller Just talk about how closing games, because I know you're not going to push Mason Miller early. Just talk about how you see the bullpen shaping out. Lucas Ursig there also.
Yeah, I think, one guy, Ursig, did an unbelievable job like August and September for me. He did really good. But like you said, Jimenez and Jackson have closed some games out in the big leagues. Let's see how healthy they are. Jimenez finished the season really strong last year. Now we just got to get Jackson to be healthy. Mason going into a little bit different role, and I hope he's excited about it. Like I said, power arms. It's a lot of fun when you got some guys who've been around a little bit. Like I said earlier, Jimenez, we're looking at year 3 now with this guy. So hopefully he's cool, calm, and collected and can go out there on that mound and breathe a little bit. The rookies. Let's face it, when you touch a big league mound, some of these guys are looking at some of these hitters. You look at Mike Trout and you're like, dang, I played MLB The Show. I was Mike Trout, and now I got to pitch against this guy, right? I mean, that's just how it goes.
It's reality, yeah.
And you get a little nervous and you get a little anxious. But now over time, and Danny Jimenez shouldn't feel that way against Mike Trout. He's faced him enough to know him, hey, he's a big leaguer and I'm a big leaguer.
So Mason Miller going from starter to now closer. That 9th inning is a whole different ball game. You don't need to have the same kind of arsenal. You can go fastball. For him would be, I guess, fastball slider. He can just blow you away with 103 in the slide piece. How do you prepare a guy to go from really being a starter who's basically just rehab for the most part in his career? He's got very little time on the mound to now saying, all right, 9th inning, this is the finality of the performance. You got to close it out. How do you mentally get him ready for this position?
Well, I think we're going to put him in some scenarios in spring training. We're going to, back-to-back days, every other day, have maybe an up in the 8th and finish off the 9th. But I think a lot of that, obviously pressure is what you put on yourself as a player, and you go out there. The 9th inning is obviously an important inning when you're winning the game, because that's how you want to close out the game, right? So it's his own stress level. I think Mason is a cool, calm, collected guy. I think he's a guy that likes pressure. I think now we'll see how it goes throughout the course of the season, because like you said, it's not easy. Now, the camera is on you. Sometimes when you're watching games, you may go somewhere real quick and come back for the 9th inning, right? Because the 9th inning is the end of the people want to see the end of the game. So I think it's, keeping Mason understand that, 3 outs is 3 outs too. And just go out there and if he executes his pitches, he's going to be really good.
All right, let's end on this. You always do a lot of deep dives during the offseason. What was the one thing that you researched, you found out, you learned, you strengthened? What was the one thing when you were doing all the stuff that you do? I know you've talked at a few different conferences. What was the one thing you learned this offseason?
I think, I just really learned that, everybody's chasing the same goal. Everybody's chasing the same thing. There's not much that's different that everybody's trying to chase. But what I learned this offseason is that we got a really good data team. And I really did try to do a lot of listening to them this offseason. And like I tease them all the time. I'm like, sometimes I think you're coming at me with some wild stuff. But you got to give me some time to think about it and process it myself. I've been doing this a long time. I think I'm a very creative person. And then when somebody gives me an idea, I got to think about it. I got to think through it. And I think they did a great job with some things that will break out this spring and during the season. And I commend them for their hard work. They did an amazing job. So, but, a lot of, pitch designing stuff, you're always looking about how guys can move better. You're always listening, researching how they can move better. If you move better, you probably got a better chance to throw better strikes, right? How can you keep your head still, right? You got to see the target. And that's things that, we've all been chasing. This is my 33rd or 34th year in the game. We've been chasing that for a long time. So it's just, updating myself on drop downs on what other people are trying to do around the game, and just staying in tune of what the new technologies are and what the new stuff is out there.
Well, I think about my wife, who's a teacher. Like, you have this stuff that you want the students to learn, but somebody's got to take this information and has to be able to relate it and get it to the students so that they understand it, right? You can have the greatest information in the world, but if the students, i.e. the players, can't absorb it and understand it, it's worthless.
Yeah, I think, when you're talking to players, you got to, and it's like anybody, you got to know your audience. You got to know, how much data you're giving somebody and how you're presenting the data to them. Some of our guys, it might be a hard away, soft away. And that's it. That's how you want to pitch a guy. Or it might be, stay taller in your posture. It might just, like you're right. When you're talking to people, you want to, in my opinion, kind of dummy it down the best you can and understand it. Big words are tough for me. Aldo will tell you that I mess them up all the time, but he gets on me for misspelling words and mispronunciation of words, which is great because it helps me out. But he knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But
which also shows you this staff has been together for a long time. It's a good group and a good group that really gets along well.
Yeah, the staff is, we're communicative, collaborative, and that starts with Kotz. Kotz loves to talk to us and be communicative with us. It's great. He walks into the office and he gives it and takes it. And it's a great group of guys to be around and collaborate ideas on. I think this might be me and Darren Bush's 16th season together on a staff. And Aldo and I, 10 years, and Marcus Jensen and I, 10 years. And now we're bringing in Bobby Crosby and Dan Hubbs, and they fit in great. And it's been a lot of fun so far in spring training, and it'll be a lot funner when we go out and win some games.
Win some games, about winning games. Let's get back to winning. Hey, great stuff. I appreciate you coming out. You are a media star and one of our favorites here on A's Cast Live, and this is the first of many in 2024.
Well, thanks for having me.
He's the best right here on A's Cast Live. We are so lucky to have a pitching coach who's willing to do as much as he does with us. A lot of teams, I hope you guys truly understand that. A lot of teams don't have that kind of access to their coaching staff the way we do, where you hear from the manager every single week in depth. Now, a lot of teams will do the broadcaster with the manager. But a lot of that is just the kind of, it's a little fluff. You get truly in depth with the manager every single week. What we get with the pitching coach, it really is high end stuff. We got more to do today. We just don't have time for any more show because we got to get ready. Players are coming back from Fitch, and we still have players that we can't be like the marketing department who's mailed it in, who's sitting around having lunch, enjoying the sun. Some of us will continue to work here today, and we'll stay here working all weekend. We're not hanging out at the pool, the lazy river, in our bucket hat. Some of us are going to sit here and not eat Chipotle and grind, and we're going to live off beef jerky and Crunch bars because that's what we do.
And trail mix.
It's a tough life, spring training.
Yeah, we got one more day after this.
Well, we technically are in marketing, but they don't feed us. They don't take care of it. Maybe we need to boycott marketing.
We need to remove
until
ourselves.
we are treated the way they're treated. We get Chipotle?
Not that I've seen.
Do you have some type of burrito bowl?
No.
Do I have a burrito?
No.
Do I have a bucket hat or a spring training hat?
Technically spring training, but I got those for us. So
yeah, exactly. We had to grind for that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to revolt. We start our own department.
Broadcasting?
I'm not leading it. I can tell you that because I'm not doing any meetings. Just inform me on how it went. All right, day 3 in the books. A's Cast Live from spring training. Players are starting to filter back in, so we got to do a lot more work that we'll be giving you tomorrow, but I hope you really enjoyed. So who do we have on today? We had on our skipper.
Yes, Shea Langeliers.
Starting catcher.
Dallas Braden.
The great Dallas Braden. That was a sneak attack.
JJ Bleday.
Probably a starting outfielder.
And Alex Wood.
And definitely
on top of Emo.
Alex Wood could be opening day. If not, first 3 games, he will be starting a game.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, look for J.P. Sears, Paul Blackburn. Zach Geloff is going to join us tomorrow.
Rooker.
Brent Rooker's going to join us tomorrow. Seth Brown. Packed show tomorrow. I hope everybody's enjoying the coverage from spring training, and it'll be a good one as our final day will be tomorrow. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow right here on A's Cast Live.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.